Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that links to the fear of success. And most people aren't really afraid of success. They're afraid of their connotations of success. And that's understandable because in almost every industry, there are always examples of people that found success to a high level and it was detrimental to the quality of their life. Maybe it led to an untimely death. Maybe it led to issues relating to overall health or well-being or legal problems, whatever it might be. But that can happen. But just because it can happen doesn't mean it will happen. So in this hypnosis session, there's a couple of key components. One is to have this ability to create boundaries, because one of the key things that can happen when people become successful is that they can compromise on their values. They can say yes to things that maybe they should say no to. And these are boundaries. Now, one of the key things is that sometimes you don't know what boundaries you need until those boundaries are crossed. So there's an element of giving her the confidence to create these boundaries, but also to agree these boundaries in advance. Because if part of the subconscious mind was holding her back because there was a fear of success, then one of the things that you can do is agree in advance, almost like a legal contract, what you are and are willing and not willing to do if certain key things happen. So if you think of almost any contract, there are lots of clauses where the probability of something happening is very slim, but it's in there just in case. For one of my businesses, for example, there is a clause in the employment contract that prevents staff from being part of a lottery syndicate. And that's because nervous lawyers are worried that if all the staff win an incredible amount on the lottery at exactly the same time, they all quit the next day. Now, the probability of employees in a company winning the lottery and then all quitting the next day is almost zero. But it's in the contract anyway, just to prevent an unlikely event from happening. So in this hypnosis session, the client was encouraged to agree things with herself in the future, even if there was a low probability of happening, to create a feeling of reassurance. And you'll also hear this element of connection. Now, connection is really important because connection can make a difference between really feeling like someone cares or someone knows who you are and what you're about. And sometimes a connection is really just setting that intention and thinking about the people that you're trying to connect with. And that doesn't even have to be someone right in front of you. Right now, as I record this, I'm connecting to someone that I may never meet, but I'm very intentional that I'm not talking to myself in an empty room, in an empty studio. I'm communicating to people about what this session's about. So there are hypnotic suggestions in here that facilitate reassurance and connection, but also mitigate what could be detrimental in the future. If you're listening to this and you're curious to figure out how to have a better relationship with yourself and want to work with me directly, there will be a link in the show notes to schedule a free consultation call with me. You're more than welcome to do that. But equally, you might find that this session is helpful for you, in which case, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of tension, stress, or worries to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, become aware of any feelings of tension in your body, especially those places that there isn't normally tension. So scan, for example, the back of your head, fingers and toes. And of course, you can pay attention to the usual suspects: forehead, jaw, neck, and shoulders. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, set the intention that now is the time to let go. To let go of tension, to let go of stress, to let go of any worries or concerns. The past is the past. You can learn from it. I want you to get a sense that the past is a treasure trove of wisdom and insight. Your memories, your experiences, mistakes, but also wonderful experiences. And I want you to think back to a time that you were in nature, maybe on a cliff top looking out over the ocean. And I want you to pay attention to the details. Imagine you're back in that memory and notice the colors. How the color of the sea is different from the color of the sky. If there's a breeze, how it feels on your skin. How you breathe differently when you're in nature. Maybe slower, deeper breaths. You breathing from your nose or your mouth. And just get a sense of where your body is weighted. Sometimes people are centered right there in the solar plexus. Sometimes they're more grounded in their feet, or sometimes up in their head. So get a sense that you're feeling connected in the same way that you are if you were walking on a cliff top near the ocean. Breathing in and breathing out, feeling like you're opening up a portal to your subconscious mind. I want you to imagine that there are senses that exist that enable you to experience reality. Through your eyes, you can see things that are real. Through your ears, you can hear things that are real. You can feel sensations from the nerve cells in your fingertips, all different parts of your body, so you feel what is real. Tastes and smells. But I want you to accept that anything you can experience in reality has an inner equivalent. Instead of seeing things with your eyes, you can imagine things, visualize things in your mind's eye. You can hear things in your ears, but you can equally have a song that gets trapped in your mind from the morning and just plays in your head all day long. Inner dialogue that could be your voices or someone else's. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 voices having a conversation back and forth. And sometimes these thoughts can create feelings, emotions. But those emotions feel like they have a physical sensation. Sometimes people will feel anxiety in the gut, or stress in the jaw, or excitement in the chest. I want you to increase the self-awareness on these feelings connected to emotions, and that these emotions are connected to thoughts. And that whenever in life you're experiencing something that is undesirable, Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's anger or stress or sadness. I want you to imagine that you can reverse engineer, to go backwards and think, what was the thought or evaluation that led to this feeling that is linked to an emotion in some way? And quite often, it's a split-second thought, a memory, in a dialogue. And there's always ingredients. For a memory of the past to affect you, has to be a certain brightness and size. For inner dialogue to affect you, it has to have a certain volume, certain tonality. And I wonder what would happen if you became a treasure hunter, a puzzle solver, that each time you're experiencing an emotion that isn't useful for you, you treat that as requiring certain puzzle pieces that led up to this feeling. And when you change the puzzle piece, the entire picture changes. Because finding out one recurring memory or one tonality of inner dialogue can prevent hours and hours and hours of unpleasant emotions and feelings. So if you found the cause of that, is that not more valuable than treasure? I want you to think to a time that you were in a mood that wasn't useful for you. And see if you can find some treasure in that experience. Maybe there was something you were focused on. Maybe it was the way someone said something, or maybe it was preempting a natural cause and effect consequence of what might happen next. And as you change those ingredients, change the pieces of that puzzle, notice that it completely changes how you feel. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. And I want you to imagine that your future is a 1,000-piece puzzle. And there's certain things in that puzzle that will not change no matter how successful you become. The things you like, you will still like. The people that matter will still matter. You'll still eat the same kind of food, even if it's better quality, served on a posher looking plate. I want you to get a sense that so much of what is in that puzzle picture of your future is going to be exactly the same no matter how successful you become. So all you're really doing is figuring out what to do to change maybe 10 or 15% of that picture. No matter what happens, you'll still be you. The things you value, you'll still value. And I want you to imagine what that picture looks like. What's your desirable future? Sometimes people fall into the trap of thinking that for a future to be desirable, it has to be completely different from how it is now. And that's not true. Sometimes the tiniest things that are different can have the biggest impact. I want you to see yourself in this puzzle picture of the future, looking grounded. See yourself with integrity. See yourself with wisdom and experience, and also see yourself with boundaries. As success grows, boundaries become even more important. So I'd like to see you in that picture. See yourself as comfortable setting boundaries that protect your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. See yourself as the kind of person that can clearly communicate your boundaries in a confident but not arrogant or rude way. No diva in this picture, just someone that respectfully communicates or enforces boundaries. See yourself in this picture attracting and connecting with those people who respect your boundaries, that treat you with kindness and compassion. And in that picture, I want you to imagine some kind of connection that looks physical in nature. Maybe that is a line of thread, or a cable, or a beam of light connecting you to those people that matter. I want you to accept that no matter where you are in your life, you will value your relationships and invest time and energy in nurturing healthy connections with people. That's the same now. That's the same 2 years from now. And it's the same in the future, no matter how successful you become. That you will always approach people with an open mind and heart, free from judgment and preconceived notions. And you decide how much of your book of who you are you open. You can be an open book to some and a closed book to others. You can hide in your shell from some and leave the shell far behind to others. Because the book and the shell are the boundaries. And the choice you need to make is your intentions as to be in the shell or leave the shell, to close the book or open the book. But just know that you have the ability to express yourself authentically and honestly without any fear of rejection or criticism. You can evaluate any feedback, but you are valuable no matter the decisions or choices that other people make. You appreciate the unique qualities and perspectives that others bring to your life. And you can learn from their experiences and insights, but fundamentally, this is your life, this is your story, and you get to make the choices. And sometimes you won't realize that a boundary needs to be created until a boundary is crossed, either by you or someone else. But just trust your ability to evaluate that when your emotions tell you that something might be necessary, that might be a cause for a new boundary, a way to protect your mood, your energy, your health, or even your safety. And if your unconscious mind is happy that you can create boundaries for where you are, and you can also create new boundaries in the future, just let me know by nodding your head. And sometimes it's worth thinking about the things that are unlikely to happen, just to know in advance what you would do if those things did happen. I want you to imagine that you're about to create a contract for your future, an agreement that you make with yourself, your future self, that no matter how successful you become, there are certain key things that you will agree to. And in doing so, your future self no longer has to fear the uncertainty, because it will trust in your honesty and integrity to stick with what's agreed. Because maybe your unconscious mind has been holding you back, worried about how you might be in the future if incredible levels of success come your way. So I want you to imagine agreeing a contract with your future self. Things that you will be and do, and also what you will never do and never be, no matter how successful you become. Because contracts give clarity and certainty. Contracts are a way of preempting unknown variables. There isn't a business that exists that could survive without contracts and agreements. How could they make decisions about next week, let alone years in the future, unless several agreements were in place? And if your unconscious mind is happy to agree with your future self, your own standards, what you will and won't be and do, then your unconscious mind no longer has to fear the future, because you've already agreed it. And agreeing the future doesn't guarantee that it happens, in the same way that a clause in a contract doesn't guarantee that the clause will ever be activated. It's just a what if. And by agreeing in advance, your unconscious mind doesn't have to worry about these what ifs anymore. And you don't have to think about all of these things right now, but just let your unconscious mind know that you're willing to agree things, any valid concerns about the future, in advance, and you'll stick to them. Because if you don't, how will yourself ever trust yourself again in the future? So I want you to open your mind to making agreements about your future and feeling that you are opening up your ability to connect with yourself, to connect with others. And I want you to imagine now seeing something that represents connection from you in the present to you in the future. And maybe it's a cable that comes from you to them and back again, or maybe it's a beam of light or a line of thread, but I want you to imagine you are now connected to your future self. And you're making a promise to your future self to be the person that you will respect, like, and admire now, in the future, and in the distant future. That you will make decisions when decisions are needed, and you will keep yourself and the people you care about safe. And I want you to feel like you're unlocking a door, a portal, to a deep sense of belonging and fulfillment, creating a catalyst to create meaningful connections with people that share your values and aspirations. I want you to get a sense that you can learn from the past to build a future that you desire. You are unlocking all of your infinite potential and capabilities to manifest the future that you desire, knowing that just like traveling on a journey, you can plot your route, but sometimes you have to make decisions while you're on the journey as new things come up. When traveling, sometimes there's traffic jams and roadworks, blocked roads or accidents, and I want you to get a sense that in those situations, you take corrective measures and then you get back on course, as you will do in your life. As your life moves forward, you can't predict and preempt every single thing that happens, but you are able to trust yourself that you will make the best decisions with the best resources and information that you have at any point in time. And in doing so, you're giving a reassurance to your future self that even those things that can't be preempted or predicted, you're creating a sense of reassurance that they can have confidence that you will still do the right thing when those things happen. I want you to get a sense that you are also increasing your level of self-awareness with your internal world, your emotions, your thoughts, your inner dialogue, and those mind's eye. There isn't just treasure in that inner experience to evolve yourself, but also you will find inspiration from these interactions that could also be put to use. If your unconscious mind is happy that boundaries will help protect you, that you can open up your intention to connect when you choose to, and also that you're able to learn even when things don't feel right or seem right, and that can help you in the future, just let me know by nodding your head. Then take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and feel like you're leaving this cliff top by the ocean and returning to the present in your body, listening to my voice at this moment in time. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all parts of you here in the present, as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.